push it around. So we're just gonna, and I'll just kind of like, there's like little rings here on the wheel, so you can kind of just move it over. And I'll just, morning. I'm just gonna karate.
Bright and early?
Yeah.
Right.
Have a good seal on it, like that's why we rounded the bottom, just to kind of, you'll hear it, so that should stay on the wheel. But I also like to, you know, at a 45-degree angle, just karate chop the clay onto the wheel as well. Kind of center it. Okay, so step number 1 is get as close as you can to the wheel, and you know, people are usually really hesitant, but the closer you can get, the better. We just started. Have you been on the wheel before, Roberta?
No.
Oh. So I'm going to turn the wheel on, and I'm going to have it go as fast as it can. Actually, just a couple of things before I start. I just want you to notice like how close I get to the clay. Usually my hands are on my chest, and my head is, you know, sometimes people will try and center up here, and it's not going to work. So the first step is called coning. Some potters don't cone actually, so, but anyways, I like to cone with my students because it makes it a little bit easier. So you're going to tuck your left hand like right into the crease of your body, and you're going to hold out your wrist like this. Like your wrist isn't as strong if it's like at this angle, but if you push your wrist back, I mean, there's nowhere to go, so it's a bit stronger. So this is going to be my guiding hand, and with my right hand, my other hand, I'm going to come in and then up, and so we're going to just like give some height to our clay, and again, it'll help us center. Let's turn it on. I like this. I find that hard. I usually keep this hand is not going to move, and this hand is just going to come in and up. Oh, and that was not wet enough. keep your clay moist, because it'll start to stick. Okay, so that's coning, and you're just going to give it a little bit of height. The next step is actually centering. So the motion for this, again, this hand is going to do the same thing. You're going to tuck it in and keep it as your guide. And then this hand, I like to also attach my hands. A lot of these motions, you'll see that I keep my hands together as one tool. It just keeps it more centered and stronger. So this hand is going to stay still. The clay should be hitting the palm of your hand. This is the strongest part of your hand. If it's hitting your fingers, again, your fingers are going to be wobbling a little bit. And I'm just going to be hitting the clay with the side of my hand and just like pushing down into this hand, and that should center it. Sometimes I like to keep my sponge actually in this hand because there's a lot of friction. It'll dry out quickly. So again, hands on my chest, my head is like forward, and actually sometimes I don't look at my clay because you're not getting much information anyway. It's more confusing, so sometimes I just like to look forward. And you should be making like a puck. This step usually takes the students all class the first time they're throwing. And I use, this might need a little bit more centering actually. If you feel any kind of like chattering or anything, like you'll feel like your finger will kind of move. Sorry, I might just. And you can kind of hear when it gets centered, it goes like da 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 da. It's like pretty. Oh, I was centering that when it was half speed. So okay, so the next part is like actually opening up and pulling up and actually making your piece. And again, with all of these steps, your hands are one tool, and you're going to be working together. And usually, it's like this. Most of these steps, your hands are kind of in like a butterfly, where you're kind of like getting your thumbs together. So. This next step is actually just piercing, and I'm just going to make I'm just going to try and find the center of the clay. If I'm a little bit off, you'll feel it. It'll be like ooh, ooh, ooh. You're going to just try and find that where your hands are really calm. Sorry, I might have to get down. And again, like get down, get centered, get tight with all of these steps. And I'm just gonna make a swim hole, leaving a little bit at the bottom. And sometimes I'll just go in and kind of measure. That's quite a bit. I'm gonna go down a little bit more so you can take it. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so pierce. And now I'm gonna actually open up. So I'm just gonna move my thumb on the back of my hand. I'm gonna take these two fingers like a hook, and I'm just gonna stretch out the bottom. Like if I were just to pull up right now, like my bottom would be like a V shape. So I wanna kind of stretch the bottom out and then pull up the walls. So again, get down. Just stay centered. And at any of these points, sorry, I'm just feeling an air bubble. Sometimes you'll feel bubbles in your clay. I'm just gonna run my needle along the inside. Sometimes you'll hear like crackling. I don't know where it was. There it is. At any of these points, like you can go off center. So try not to touch your clay unless you're really centered and meaning to. Okay, so we're ready for the last step, and that's just like pulling up our walls. So I'm just going to dribble some water along the sides of it. I just kind of do a V shape with my fingers and just let it, and then I'm just going to dry out the center, because if we have any standing water kind of breaks down the clay and ruins the structural integrity of the clay or whatever. So I'm just going to keep the bottom white. My hands again, that butterfly shape. I'm going to be using these two fingers. I was taught, hooking two fingers and bringing up. I actually find it more comfortable using the sides of my fingers. So anyways, whatever kind of feels more natural to you. There's a little hump here. Actually, I might make it more exaggerated. Sometimes I just use, well, this isn't the best tool, but sometimes I just use the curved end of this tool to make more of a hump. And you'll see when I'm pulling, I get my finger right underneath where like I kind of make a finger hole here, and I'm going to slowly pull up, and you'll see this practice. There's no sort of hard and fast rule. For every revolution, you're trying to kind of pull up once. So you don't want to push too hard because you'll go through your clay, not too soft because you actually won't actually pull up. So not too hard, not too soft, not too fast, not too slow. So it's just kind of a feel, and you kind of just, it just has to do with experience, and I don't know how else to describe it. You just kind of have to feel it. So anyways, again, I'm just gonna wet the sides, wipe out the middle, and again, I'm gonna get down, and I'm gonna tilt my head, but I'm gonna really get down in here so I can stay centered and actually pull up. So, and you'll see that lump kind of travel up with me. And then I'm just going to kind of sneak away at the top. And then I kind of, I might try that again. Make a finger hole. See that travel up with me. And I have no idea what I'm making. Maybe the top is one of yours.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And
you're at half speed right now?
Yeah, actually less than half speed. I go slow. I like it slow. I don't know. Sometimes people are like, I don't know. That's not my style. But yeah, you just go as, I might, because, I'm more experienced. I might pull up again, but for you, you might just be like, oh, this is great. I made something.
That's usually what I do. Oh crap, don't touch it again.
And I think, I'm sorry. Yeah, this might be the top to something. Anyways, these are kind of the last steps. I'm just gonna, there's kind of a skirt on here, so the clay goes out on the outside and in on the inside. So I'm gonna do what's called undercutting. If you get to this point, huzzah. But anyways, I'll help you with that. I'm just gonna hold my tool like this. I'm gonna cut, take off some of this extra clay. Anyways, there's, if we get through this, we can try trimming or something. You can come in. My expectations, I mean, if we can get something off the wheel, that's amazing. It usually doesn't happen the first time you try, to be honest. Just to be honest, like I don't want to crush your hopes and dreams, but sometimes people will come on the wheel